I have no filter these days. Yeah, it's a fake way of bonding, really.
Quiet.
So,
Did not go well.
and that was like the straw that broke the camel's back that led to my total emotional breakdown. Thank you, Melissa, for listening to your intuition.
My mom being dead.
And Angie.
Just see you next time.
See you next time. Okay, let's go fast. 1, 2, 3.
Unquiet soul.
Okay. I think it's because it's funny though, because I feel like most people tell me that because I have the kind of eyes, they're blue, but if I'm wearing something like this, they really pop. So I always thought that was the reason, but you probably can't really see my eyes right now. So maybe there's another reason why people say I look good in blue. And like royal blue specifically.
You must have cool tones in your skin. Because royal blue is
I've
a
been
cool
seeing
tone.
that on Instagram. Yeah, I must.
I'm
How do
not,
you like figure that out?
I don't know. They have a whole thing, like a quiz, but I want to because they got this whole thing like warm autumn is the type of makeup you should be wearing or whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how extensive is that test? Because I'm not really feeling a long ass test, you know?
Yeah, especially when it's like so tedious. Let me search a like tone quiz. You would think they would need your picture or something though, too.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, do you have something specific or do you want to start with what you wrote down from last week?
Well, I want to hear about the thing you did for your friend on Monday.
Oh, God. Can't get my fucking chair to move. God damn it. I did it 3 times. What is going on? The thing I did for my friend. Well, her daughter was having brain surgery, her 26-year-old daughter. And I was like, well, shit. I don't have a lot of capacity or energy to give to anyone, but let me think
Yeah.
of how to use this energy wisely. And so I was like, how does she show up for me when she's there? Because unless you're really intentional about knowing how the other person wants you to show up, you generally are going to show up the way you want people to show up. And I absolutely see why this is a thing for her because almost every one of her extended family were there. She's got a very large family.
Oh, okay.
Um, but I mean, I wasn't going because I thought she wasn't gonna have anyone. I was going because, like, this is
That's
how you
how
show up
she
for her.
receives
You
love.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so, I got up at the ass crack of dawn on Monday and made my way to the hospital so I could see her daughter before she went back for the surgery, and then sat there. Things went well. It was over by, like, noon. And
Okay.
so I came home and took a little nappy poo and then made a couple of different things and sent Brian to drop them off. And I was like, okay, love you. That's what you got.
Did
There's
it
your
make
support.
the emotional load easier having the other people there as well? Or that didn't make a difference?
Um, I don't think I felt any weight from being there
Okay.
because, I mean, if by some chance she were to listen to this, hi, sister, I would say this to your face, but she is emotionally unavailable. And
Mm,
so, she is very one foot in front of the other, pretend everything's fine until you know otherwise kind of person. So
yeah.
she wasn't needing a ton of like emotional support. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We're just chit chatting, going to
But
the little coffee shop, going to the cafeteria. You know what I mean?
I think that makes it even cooler though that you like
Yeah.
acknowledge that and you show up for her anyway. Cause sometimes when someone's emotionally unavailable, it's like, I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this is an area I'm trying to grow in
Yeah.
because this is actually one of the first opportunities that I've gotten to show up for someone since all of this, like
Yeah.
literally, or at least at a time where I felt the capacity to do it, you know, because
Yeah.
this journey has not been without its struggles, and I have certainly had my points of chemical lows where I mean, I was stressed all the fucking time about Jake. So really
Yeah.
that zapped all my extra energy. So like I can think of a couple funerals that I wanted to go to but didn't, things like that. So I really just haven't had a ton of opportunities, but for me, I identified this as an area that I wanted to grow in because since I had this narrative before that nobody really shows up for me the way I show up for them, um, because I wanted them to show up, I couldn't even name it. Honestly, I couldn't
Yeah.
name it. That narrative was so embedded. There was no way to show up. And I recognize that now. But because I had that narrative, um, I kind of just was like, well, I'll do what I want. And that's more than they would give me anyway. You know what I mean? That's how I
Yeah.
really believed. So I was more of like a phone checker in or whatever. Well, this honey isn't a phone person. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
she's
yeah.
kind of an avoidant. So like she's one of those people that's got 3,472 messages on her phone that she
Oh,
hasn't read.
it
You know what
just,
I
like,
mean?
hearing that gives me a heart attack, yeah.
Right. She'll answer the phone if you call, but like and I'm not a talker, but I'm trying to
Yeah.
get better about that too. But um, I'm a talker, let me clarify, I don't like to call people on the phone. But,
Yeah, I
like,
think
yeah,
cell
so
phones have really, like, established everyone's communication styles because it used to be you had to talk on the phone, and I never was a talker on the phone either, and now you don't really
yeah.
have to be with text and everything else.
You know what's funny? I did used to be a phone talker,
Oh, really?
but I think it's because I was a smoker. So, you go outside to smoke, you take your phone because you want someone to talk
Mm,
to. Me and my smoker friends talked all day. Like, that's who we
okay.
were. But, yeah, so I really was like, how do I wanna show up?" And I checked in. I was like, I have the energy for this. And so I just decided beforehand how that energy would be expended. And then, okay, so here's where I hit a little bit of a snag where I had to grow through something really quickly. Uh, I, I definitely noticed how an area of self sabotage, I'll say.
Okay.
Okay, so Sunday or Saturday night, a friend of mine texted and said that she had group tickets and invited me and Bryson to go to the Thunder game. That's our NBA team.
Okay.
And we are huge fans. Like we go
Okay.
to
I
games,
didn't
like
even know you guys had an NBA team.
we do, and it's the number one in the league.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. They're very good and we love going. We're huge fans. We watch all the games. I'm in a fucking fantasy league, which by the way, I've made the finals. Hello. I'm not sure I'm gonna win the finals, but I'm gonna at least get second place for our league. So this is something that's like really important to me. So I was like, okay. But the game didn't start till like 6:30. We didn't get home till like 10. So I'm so glad I had enough time to prep, but that meant prepping a bunch of stuff on Sunday before I went to the game because I had to get up at like 5 a.m. on Monday.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and so it was like, things like making sure we know what Charlie's wearing to school for the next couple days, making sure her Chromebook's charged, making, just different things like
Yeah.
that we had to do that are like Sunday night things that I didn't want to wait for. So I like made a to-do list. I had to do all this extra work because I knew I was getting up early. But I really wanted to go to the game, so it was worth it. But I was fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
When we got back, I was like, "Oh my God." I didn't fall asleep till probably close to midnight because that's how my body is. And so when I woke up Monday, I was tired, but that part was not, I mean, I'm always tired in the morning, so that was okay. But I had to come home and I had to make a couple of choices because I see evening clients on Monday.
Mm.
Well, only one, but still.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I still need to make this food for them, which is going to take a couple of hours. And I need to do my promo for today's episode and I needed to do some things before my 7 o'clock, and I needed to get the food to them in time for dinner because at the house, she lives with her mother. And so
Okay.
at their house, someone was staying there because her daughter, my friend's granddaughter, also lives there. She's like
Okay.
6. And so some family was staying there to take care of daughter. And so I was like, this is perfect because I planned to make some food anyway. Now I know for sure there's people to eat it. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I was like, "I'm fucking exhausted." And I normally would try to make myself have come home, do the promo, do this, and then wouldn't have had time to take a nap, so I'm just working right through, and then that would have killed me. So I had to make a choice to not do my promo until later in the
Yeah.
day, and I had to take a nap. But there was a couple of times within that whole 24 hours where I was like, "Oh my god, this is so fucking overwhelming." And then, like, kinda had to step back and be like, "But it's a good like, this is okay. Your
Yeah.
nervous system can contain this. It's okay." So I really had to grow through that, but it was also I feel like there's times when I would have sabotaged the whole thing by the second the overwhelm hit, start being like, "Well, she wouldn't even be doing this for me," and then da 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 da. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Especially when you're tired.
Yes.
Which is why I
And
think it's good that you chose to take a nap, because I think that choice alone solved a lot of other things that you probably would have self-sabotaged later.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I would have ended up canceling my therapy client that night
Okay.
because I wouldn't have been able it's at 7, I couldn't have made it
Oh, yeah.
because I did go to bed right after that. When I was done, 8:30, I went to sleep. Um, so yeah, I just was so happy to be aware of some of those patterns
Yeah.
because first of all, I have had a feeling for a while now that my nervous system was learning to expand its capacity because if I want the things I want, I'm going to be a lot busier. And
Mhm.
so I have felt a season of preparation for that. And so I kept telling myself, like, this is good preparation. And look how great it went. You were organized. You know, I didn't just fly by the seat of my pants and hope it
Yeah.
got done. I had a list, I attacked it. I asked for the things I needed, like, I made Brian shred the rotisserie chicken for one thing and peel the potatoes for another thing. Not made him, but you know what I'm saying, I asked him
Yeah.
to do it. You know, like, I asked for what I needed. I knew I couldn't do it all myself. I had him go take the food instead of me. So, I just, like, was learning, like, what that would look like if I was, you know, busy a lot more hours than I am right now with less flexibility. I can do that. I'm enough to do that. And I feel like that was the overarching, like, because let's say I get all the things I want and it's not those things that are keeping me so busy, but I've got those things and I've got a family and I've got friends and I've got me and I've got sleep. You know, all those things have to be balanced. And how
Yeah.
can I do that? How can I prioritize? And it won't be the same priorities every day. You know, things like that, which is on theme. I'm just realizing for this Libra full moon today because it's all about bringing in that harmony and balance. How can we have harmony and balance
Mm.
in situations? And so I feel like that was one of the things that I was really learning instead of going to this negative place that I did used to do quite frequently of like, God, I'm doing all this martyrdom, you
Yeah.
know? And then the longer it went, the less I'd be asking for help. So the more I'm actually doing in less amount of time. And you know, now I can feel like a real victim to my own circumstances at all times. So yeah, I so much awareness came out of this one little thing. And I know she felt showed up for, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a true test, right? Because I don't know about you, but any time in my life where I've wanted to expand and started to expand, life will hit me with the test. Like, are you really ready for it? And I have definitely failed, but I've also passed. Like, I actually had a situation recently where I passed the test and I was like, yes. But I think that was your test. Like, are you really ready to expand?
No, I felt that. I
Yeah.
felt that. Like, you said you wanted this. You wanted more time with your friends. You wanted out of your fucking house. You wanted to talk. Here you go. And even though some of the ways that the universe will hand you what you ask for being in no way what you wanted,
Yeah.
um,
It's not a way that you would find pleasant at all.
every fucking time, right? Uh, Sometimes I really can enjoy that, you know? Like, I can
Yeah,
enjoy the
there's
letting go of
humor
the
in it,
how.
right?
Yeah,
Like, this is
yeah.
so messed up. Why am I being tested right now?
Yes, 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 absolutely. So, that's how Monday went. I was glad for it to be over. I'm still being tested by Jesus or whoever by being in a fucking group chat with her entire extended family right now.
Oh, I hate group
I
chats.
can't
I
do a group
hate
chat,
them.
but I'm not leaving it until she's out of the hospital and, I mean,
Oh, okay.
she's doing okay,
Oh,
but there's still need for updates, so.
well, that's what I was gonna ask. Does she have epilepsy, or why does she have brain surgery?
Yeah, she has epilepsy that became uncontrolled all of a sudden and,
Mm.
over the last year or so, and so they inserted, like, a little pacemaker type thing that is supposed to
Oh,
register that she's having a
interesting.
seizure and kinda stop it.
Interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
technology is amazing these days.
Right. Yeah, I'm really impressed with that too, and, yeah, she seems to be doing okay. She's
Also,
I think she'll get to go home today, but.
I have a question. I don't know if you know this. Was she under anesthesia? Because
Mhm.
I saw a doctor posted on TikTok, and it was like weird facts about your body. And one of them was your brain doesn't have nerve endings. So he was like, they can operate on your brain without giving you anesthesia. But I was like, how does that work? Because they're still cutting through your skin and skull. You know what I mean?
Numbing, local anesthetic.
But
She
is that
was
what
put
she
to sleep
had?
for this
Oh,
one.
yeah,
The
that's
only time
so
you really
wild.
keep them awake is if you're needing to test it, right, whatever you're
Mm.
doing, if you need to see, like,
Oh, yeah, that's convenient.
yeah, like, say these words, can you count backwards, things like
It's
that,
really
but this
fucking
was
weird,
going into the
though.
middle of her brain, so.
I wouldn't wanna know what was going
No,
on.
hell no, hell no. Put me out, I don't care if you just take a guess, okay? You don't need my
I
input
I
on that
know,
shit.
it'll probably be fine, it's fine.
I don't even wanna think about what you'd need to drug me with to keep my anxiety under control.
Right.
I can't even
I
go to the
even just
dentist,
thinking
so you
about
can't
it would, like
drill in my fucking brain. You can't drill in my brain with me
also,
awake.
I would think even if it's numb, there's still, like, sensations. Because 'cause I've had, like, local numbing on my skin, you can still feel the tugging, you know what I
Oh, I'm
mean?
sure that you can feel that. It's kinda
Like,
like
yeah,
when you get an epidural for having a baby, there's a lot you can feel, you just aren't in excruciating pain.
I just don't wanna know.
No, I don't wanna be no, 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 no. Not for me, please. So, yeah, that's what I did. What about you?
Okay, so this was the topic that I had for last week, but we didn't have time. And there's been updates since then because I looked up something on YouTube and I had a conversation with someone.
Oh
But
my
the real
god.
okay, so what happened was it was like 6 months ago, I was having a conversation with a friend, and we were talking about how you don't really see attractive men anymore. Like, I feel like when I was younger, like, I could walk down the street and appreciate an attractive man if I saw one, right? And I just feel like that doesn't really happen that much anymore. And we had the conversation because she agreed, and then I just went on with my life and never really thought about it. And something happened, I can't remember what, that made me think about it again. And I was like, I don't understand. And I was at the gym thinking about it. And this is when it hit me because I used to be, when I lived in Chicago, I was a beast in the gym. I was lifting so heavy. And even then, I wasn't even like close to competing with the men because they're still lifting like 3 times as heavy as I am. Now I probably lift 75% of what I used to. I was at the gym and I was noticing that I was lifting just as heavy, if not heavier, than most of the men. And then I'm looking around at these men and they're just like, they look all wimpy. And I was like, that's it. They're not like masculine like they used to be. So I feel like that's why I'm not as attracted to men. So I was like, I started researching this and I found this guy on YouTube and he went into this whole thing about it. And in hindsight, he was kind of blaming women. The way he was phrasing it wasn't really blaming women, but he was talking about in modern day society women don't need providers, so they kind of, like, talk down to men or, like, don't really appreciate men, and you kinda notice it on social media the way, like, women are, like, basically hate men these days, but he thinks, like, that's just kind of adding fuel to the fire and men are just, like, retreating into this more passive mode, so that made sense, but then I was talking to a friend about it, and he said he thinks men have just been emasculated by society because it's like it's not masculine to cry or whatever. So they've had to like withhold all these emotions and they're really suffering in silence. And he feels like that has contributed to them not being as masculine. And I was like, that's also a very good theory. But I guess both are
Hmm.
both related to like society expectations and yeah, like women's roles have evolved. And I think men have always had to carry a lot of mental health issues and not, I do think they are more open than they used to be, but I don't know. Have you
Yeah.
noticed that men are not as masculine?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's not really an observation I would make. I'm trying to think. But also I've probably never been attracted to that hyper masculinity.
Oh,
And
really?
so it's probably not something I would notice. You know what I mean? Because I'm
Yeah.
kind of repelled by hyper masculinity because it's usually kind of toxic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not
And
talking
I
about like
also
the
think,
alpha male stuff, but just like a
right,
muscular, and when I say dominant, just more like assertive, like, I don't
huh?
know,
Let me
taking
think.
the lead.
Taking the lead. I don't know. I think I've just been married so long, so that you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like it's kinda hard for me to judge. I've been married my whole fucking adult life pretty much. So, like, I had a
Yeah.
year of, but like,
Yeah, so
um,
you probably don't notice as much.
but I also think so I think elder Gen X was probably the last generation, Virgo, Pluto, to be this certain type of male. And I think the next generation really Libra, Pluto, looked for more balance in things. I think that probably that whole generation, whether they're conscious of it or not, do try to have more of a balance between the masculine and the feminine. In terms of
Mhm.
women emasculating men, I mean, I can certainly see where some men have that view. um, I just kinda think the patriarchy's being flipped on its head, and, like,
Yeah.
women have really been fucking held down for so fucking long. Like, did you know that in the '60s, if a woman wanted a divorce, she had to, like, go sue her husband?
Yeah, it was, like, nearly impossible to get a
Yeah,
divorce.
I had heard that stuff, but I didn't understand. Girl, you know me in history.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. Don't know her. But so, like, I saw a deposition from an actual case through a friend of mine from her grandma. And I was like, damn, women couldn't have credit, all kinds of things. And so I think that women in their empowerment to choose not to have children, to choose whether or not they even get married, to learn to decenter men in
Mhm.
those endeavors, we don't need men as much. And I think that there are those women too who, in those quests, have been less in touch with their feminine.
Yes.
And
Because there's
so,
also women who are out of
oh,
balance as
absolutely.
well. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I think they probably have this idea that romance or connection means sacrificing something. Whereas I think that two people can come together and work together even if you don't need this man to be a provider in the way that they used to be. I personally am when I see that, like the way that the roles are being switched, I like that because well, women need more rights. I mean, people have rights over our
Yeah.
bodies now, you know? But,
But the
yeah, I could
downside to
definitely see, but, yeah, I don't know that I'm a good judge in terms of, like, men, because I just I don't
yeah.
even shit, I don't even see people, Like, I haven't been out of my house in 2 years, like,
Oh, maybe
the
that's
only
another thing
people I've
then.
been around are, like, those hyper toxic masculine people, and I'm like,
Yeah, like the alpha
"Okay,
males. I'm not talking
boomer, get
about
the
that,
fuck
yeah.
down, you fucking
But
boomer
that was
ass."
another thing my friend was saying, though, about how with women coming to power, even though there's so many good things about that, a lot of men are stuck in this mindset of their purpose as a provider, and now that
Yeah,
that's taken away from them, and this is on men to figure out, but it's like, "What is my purpose
right.
now?"
Yeah, and I wish that they understood, though, that, like, we may not need you to go hunt our meat, but we need like, your comfort and your
Yeah.
nurturing. Like, that's what we
But then
need.
the yeah, but then they don't have the emotional availability to open up like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, men got to get with the program. You know what I mean? I'm actually wanting to do a man's program about just them understanding. Because here's what I'm tired of. I'm tired of men hearing women have conversations about emotions and act like we're fucking crazy for it.
Yeah.
That's all just woo woo made up shit and you need to, you know what I mean? And like even Brian does shit like that. And Brian thinks that every time I'm trying to talk to him about something, I'm trying to manipulate him. Okay.
Because that's how foreign emotions are to him.
Yes. 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 And it's fucking infuriating sometimes where I'm like, I was just thinking this to myself the other day where I wanted to have a conversation with him about a couple things. I'm like, well, what's the fucking point? He's just gonna tune out because I'm, manipulating him. Like,
Yeah.
goddamn. It sucks because he can hear me on a podcast and not take anything I say personally and learn something. But like if I'm trying to talk to him, and I get it, he doesn't feel safe in conflict, and that feels like conflict to him.
Yeah.
Like you have to take the tiniest little steps with him, and I am an Aries rising, and I don't take tiny steps. I go all in on something. And so, that's been something that I've really tried to learn with him is to like how to approach certain conversations and whatever. And Brian's not a hyper masculine guy for sure. Um, and is more in touch with his feelings than lots of men, but that's not saying much because most men are not in touch with their feelings.
Yeah.
And I do feel for the hyper masculine woman who feels like that's what they want because they don't know what they really need if they think that this guy hitting a bear over the head and bringing home food is their only function. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I love that men are better dads than they've ever been. I love that. Like,
Yeah.
that's how we raise this next generation to be good humans. There are things that dads need to be able to provide that I think sometimes mamas can get in the way of, me included. But, like, like dads are more risk inherent. And so they're like,
Oh,
let's
yeah.
take
So
a
they'll
little
be,
bit of
like,
risk.
throwing the kids around.
Right, right, and
Yeah.
so there's stuff like that, and then the baby comes home to mama and is like, "What the fuck was that? Mommy, help me regulate." You know what I mean? But, like, yeah, I think overall, I would love to see men just find the balance because
Yeah.
you don't have to be one or the other, and you should be both. You need space for both, and
And
so
I'm
should we.
yeah, but I think the problem is they're not actively trying to find the balance because my friend was saying he lives in Dallas. He was like, he's tried to start men groups and they just don't pick on.
Yep, yep. Uh, I've had a few male clients, but not many, not many.
Yeah.
I had a 22-year-old last year of college, so fucking resistant to so many things. Like, it would take so long for him to trust that I knew what I was talking about, you know what I mean? And he quit one day just out of the blue after a
Mm,
year. Like, just quit. Okay. I think I really don't know why, honestly. I thought maybe politics, but it's not that I talked about politics, but if he ever
yeah.
looked me up, it would be obvious where I stood, so, um yeah, I don't know. I would try really because I mean, we do notice the avoidant traits in men more than we do in women, though I think we're all avoidant because we try to avoid pain.
Yeah.
But like, there's a certain brand of avoidance that I see it in so many men, and it really is just that completely unsafe in conflict, and everything feels like a conflict to them, everything. If
Yes.
you're not constantly praising them and whatever, you're attacking them.
Yeah.
And so that's where I just want them to see, like, there's just some programming here. I just want you to understand where the root of this belief come from. Like you can shift a couple things. No one's asking men to not be men. We're
Yeah.
asking you to not be a fucking creep first of all. We wanna feel safe when we're walking down the sidewalk. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you no longer can act like you could in the '70s and '80s. Well, shit, even the '90s. I remember being a teenager in the '90s getting catcalled and,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. We're asking you to be a safe person for women, and we're asking you to not call us crazy when we're having a feeling.
Yeah.
That's kinda it.
It seems like
We're
a
asking
small
you to
ask,
discuss
right?
things. Yeah, we're asking you to have a conversation about things instead of shutting down and leaving or drinking in your man cave or playing video games or just flat out ignoring or being a total narcissist and doing weird shit around the house. You know what I mean? Like, we're asking you to sit and for there not to be repercussions for the conversation, to just sit. Now, listen, women, you too, but that's what women are asking of men. And
Yeah.
I can see how if you've been programmed to believe this is the only way. And but I said this to someone not too long ago, and I wondered, you have male friends, so I wondered if you've noticed this. And I also want to ask you kind of your programming as a woman. Okay, so here's something I have noticed is a very common thread among men. They will all say, my dad didn't teach me how to blank. And that will be the
Mm,
root of every one of their fucking problems. Brian's is my dad didn't teach me how to like connect with others, like socialize correctly, like whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Jake's was the men in my life didn't teach me how to be masculine.
Mm,
Other men's is, one or the other of those. Like, I hear a
yeah.
very common thread. I don't recall hearing women say, "My mom didn't teach me this,"
Yeah.
or "I didn't
My
get that
parents
from
didn't
my
teach me
mom."
shit. And as a
Right.
matter of fact, my parents never gave me any like advice about life. And then when I went to college or like in my 20s and I was living my life, like I would make decisions or make mistakes and then they would criticize me. And I would get so
Trial
pissed
by
off because
fire.
it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's like you never taught me. I'm trying to figure things out and now I'm getting criticized. I would get so angry.
That's their
So
entire
nobody,
generation, Angie. That's their
yeah,
entire
nobody,
generation. I'm
yeah,
so
nobody
serious.
taught me shit. Yeah. But so my friend that I talked to last week, his dad was he knew his dad, but he wasn't really present because he was off making like many other families. But he's never used that as an excuse. And he's like, I've known him for many years because we originally met when we both lived in Chicago. And like we've both like grown so much. So like he's never used that as an excuse. He's always been accountable
But
for
he
his
also
own
sounds
growth.
kind of emotionally in touch.
He is. Yeah. Yeah, 'cause he, like, like, we can have, like, a deep conversation, and he can get in
Yeah.
touch with his emotions, yeah.
Because when I met this guy on my show not too long ago, he said that was a former thought, like, "My dad didn't
Mhm.
teach me this." I'm wondering if women didn't have that expectation. Like, boys seem to look to their fathers. Well, first of all, this is a narrative that kinda pisses me off, actually. Boys especially need a dad, and only a
Oh, yeah.
dad could do this thing, and blah, 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 blah. Fuck off, dude, for real. It annoys the shit out of me, but it's as if they can only learn their masculinity
Yeah.
from a father, and if they don't get that, well, they're fucked, and that's a very overarching thing that I hear, like, I've heard that my whole life. So, why is it that we didn't take that on for us. We've never assumed it was our mother's role. Every now and then it'll be like, well, my mom didn't teach me how to cook or something. You know what I mean? Like there might be something like that.
Mhm.
But like, or my mom didn't do that, so I don't know. But like I I just don't think as women that we expected anything of our mothers, that we didn't
Yeah, that
expect
is
like maybe
interesting.
our parents failed us in a lot of ways, but we weren't like excluding our mothers. Girls, I think a lot of times are like, "Well, my daddy didn't love me, so, Imma go fuck everyone or whatever," daddy issues. But, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't think that we just I don't think we had those
Yeah, I've
expectations.
never heard a woman blame Well, I mean, it's like I've heard women blame their parents for like, yeah, like I had daddy issues, so I was like sleeping around or whatever. But then you usually get over that hump and figure things out and move on with your life.
Right. Yeah, I just it's just interesting to me. Like I thought I thought, wow, the first time I heard Brian say that, because I guess, I had heard my ex-husband say similar things, but he said it very directly. My dad didn't teach me this. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, mine didn't either, but I figured it out. But all right. I mean, that was what, like, I was like, I didn't learn that from my dad. Like, I learned that from me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, like, I'm better at socializing than any one of my caregivers were. So
Yeah.
I'm like, that didn't make sense to me. Like, I was just kind of like, interesting, okay. And then I started to hear, even if they're not saying it like explicitly, like that's a theme.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I think men are struggling to figure out how to be if they're not this one thing. I'm glad that we as women don't need them to be this one thing anymore. I'm
Yeah.
glad they're having to figure it out, but I wish they would take that more seriously, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't
'Cause there's plenty of
even
crazies
know.
out there that are like, "These women, they belong barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. Women."
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of gender hating on both sides, but it's just a lot of misunderstandings, really.
Yeah, my only problem is that, unfortunately, men rule the world, and so they get to govern women's choices and bodies and
Yeah.
whatever, and that's we're not really like, women aren't gonna stop the women who hate men aren't going to stop hating men until they don't get choice over our
Yeah.
bodies, and that's where it's like, if men would use their voice because 'cause they're the ones that people listen to advocate for women instead of trying so fucking hard to get us to want them to provide, you know what I mean? Then we'd come, like, so much farther together. But I think even men, when I'm like, "You just gotta figure out some programming," they just think that I'm just one of those women, they just don't trust,
Mhm. Yeah. Oh,
which
that
is
makes
fine, I
sense.
mean,
Yeah. They have
I
to
don't
figure it
care.
out. Well, yeah, well, it's too bad that young kid, yeah, couldn't figure it out because then he's gonna probably spend most of his 20s lost and confused, if not longer,
Yeah, I mean, I we had that's probably why he quit is because we had just made some real progress.
and it scared him off, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I was so proud of him because he finally was understanding what I was saying. We had finally gotten to the subconscious patterns because he was gruff. Like, he would trigger
Mhm.
me sometimes with his stopping me whatever I was saying, and, like, if it was triggering to him, he came right back, and so I had to tread lightly with him for a very long time, and then finally one day he was just raw enough for me to slide right in and be like, "And when was the first time you remember feeling like that?" Because what I'm hearing is this, "When was the first time you
It took
remember
you a
feeling like
year
that?"
to get that far?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wild, yeah.
And it was the most heartbreaking little story. And then it was
Mhm.
just story after story after story of the times that he felt like that. And so he believed me because I was able to pull that out of him because those were things he hadn't even remembered for years
Yeah.
until that very conversation. So then I gained his trust a little bit. But I think part of it too was that he was not, you get a couple different types of people, which you also know this, but for the audience, people who are either willing to say, yeah, my parents fucking sucked, but, like, I can understand now why they sucked and whatever. So now I've made peace with the fact that they sucked, but yeah, I believe they did the best they could and they've moved past that pain point. Or you get complete demonization of the parents, or you get no reconciliation, just flat out they were great, they did the best they could, don't wanna talk about them because they didn't have those
Mhm.
big T traumas. They didn't get beaten, they
Yeah.
weren't neglected, it could be extreme cases of emotional abuse, and they don't see it because they don't want to. I think that was part of the issue here is that he knew there was gonna be some things he had to confront with his parental system, and
Yeah.
he was very dead set on believing they were perfect. And I was like, "I'm not trying to get you to believe they weren't perfect. I'm just trying to get you to understand, like, yes, they did the very best, and yes, the things they've done have had an impact. That's all.
Yeah.
We're just trying to understand the impact. You don't have to be mad, you don't have to anything. Just understand that impacted you negatively." So there was a little pain point there, and so there was a couple things like that, and I was like, I wasn't real surprised. I was a little surprised, but
Yeah.
because he just was so fucking resistant, like, for so long, and just was so sure he knew everything. He just knew so much. He's like, "Well, no, because I looked it up and blah, 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 blah." And I was like, "Oh, you looked it up. Okay. Well, all right." It was stuff like that all the time. And then I've just had other men that completely shut down because you know what I see as a very common dynamic is the dynamic that I have with my husband, which is a very dominating woman and loud, reactive male who shuts down in conflict. Sweet,
Mm,
just wants to love and be nice and help.
yeah.
Yet no emotional availability whatsoever. So when loud, crazy woman becomes a little softer and is asking for softness, but, like, that comes at a cost because, like, sometimes you're gonna have to admit you were wrong because the loud person gets blamed for everything. All the attention gets put on the fact that the loud person was loud again, and so now the loud person's apologizing and whatever, but the loud person was valid in their feelings to begin with. They just didn't
Yeah.
react appropriately, and so that's what I've seen in couples I've worked with, that's what I see with us, and it's just like, dude, I mean, I'm working with an individual right now who that was kind of the dynamic in their relationship. And I mean, it's only taken 4 sessions for them to kind of see, like, wait, my husband's not perfect, actually. Because, I mean, actually, she's more of the shutdown person, but
Okay.
she believed that because he could talk and put some sentences together, he's a Gemini. You know, that he was smarter and that's what he wanted her to believe. You know what
Yeah,
I
of
mean?
course.
And I was like, "Oh, let me tell you something, honey." You know what I mean? And I just
Yeah.
pointed out a couple things and she's like, "What?" But she's feeling empowered to, like, not listen to everything. I'm not asking women to stand up and start, screaming at their husbands. I'm asking them to believe, like, you might know what the fuck you're thinking and feeling for
Yeah, to
yourself.
trust yourself.
Yes,
'Cause
exactly.
that's what I have found in the women that I work with. Nobody trusts themselves, and I'm like, "Why the hell not?"
Because that's the byproduct of the patriarchy,
I think
truly,
so.
because
Yeah.
the fucking boomers, Imma say it, literally in that idea of compliance and, like, how people still believe you should respect your elders no matter what. Whereas I'm like, fuck the elders. If you don't show me respect, I don't show you respect. Like, period. And that took a lot of deconstruction of a lot of different paradigms to get to because I was taught that. I believed it.
Yeah.
And that's where the entitlement has come from. That's why the boomers feel entitled. That's why the Gen X feel entitled. They thought they were going
Oh,
to get their
yeah.
day. They had to
Heck
take all
that.
this shit from the silent generation, from the boomers, and they thought that their day would come where they get the respect and they can just say whatever the hell they want, and people are just gonna be like, "Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am.
So,
Yes,
is
sir.
that
No,
the
sir."
rise of the Karens? Is that the psychology of the rise of the Karens? Like, they thought they were gonna
Their
get
entitlement.
respect? Yeah,
Mhm.
because they're older, and that's not
Yes.
how it's working out at all.
No, because then you got that Sag Pluto that came in and said, "I don't give a fuck." So yeah, it's been a really interesting power shift, and I like it. I was resistant to it. I really was. I was like, no, you respect people and blah blah blah. And I had to really sit down and understand what respect is. And I don't have to make you comfortable. That's what we used to think respect
Yeah,
was. I have to value your comfort over my own, is what we were taught. And I have
exactly.
preached this till I'm blue in the face, but especially little girls.
Yeah,
We were forced to let any fucking old person that wanted to come and touch us on our head, on our back, tell us how pretty we are, compliment us on weird, creepy shit, and we had to
yeah.
sit there and say thank you. We had no autonomy over our own little bodies.
Yeah.
Well, Jesus, no wonder. No wonder we don't trust ourselves. We weren't even allowed to go, "That feels weird. This fucking weird
Yeah.
ass uncle I have over here doesn't, know how
Because
to
then
quit
you would
staring
be
at me."
mean or rude if you said that.
Would be disrespectful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And our the mothers of our generation, they didn't have it either. They didn't know how to advocate for us because they didn't have a voice. That's the truth.
Yeah.
They had no voice. It was worse for them than even us. So like they're not going to tell you that, to be rude to Uncle Joe because Uncle Joe did the same shit to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they don't know
Yeah.
how to they're just towing the line and they're trying to teach you how to toe the line. And then you're like, I don't like the line. And so there's the conflict between mother and daughter of that generation. Entitlement. They thought
Yeah.
they were going to get their day. They really did. And that actually makes me really sad because they put up with so much shit for so long thinking I'll be the elder one day and people are going to dote on me and when it's my grandkid when it's not my kid, but it's my grandkid, I'm gonna get to get all the control because these mothers were telling me how bad of a mother I was, and I'm gonna get to do that. And they're not saying to themselves they really want to tell this girl how bad of a mother she is. They just want a little bit of freedom and a little bit of agency that they didn't get with their own children.
Yeah. That
It's
actually
not
makes a
right,
lot
and
of
I'm not
sense.
condoning it at
Yeah.
all. Let me just be clear. But this is why we have this whole mother-in-law epidemic.
Yeah, because it's the first time they've really been able to use their voice. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's not right, but it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. And I think this is the thing that spirituality has afforded me is the opportunity to understand why people do what they do on a very deep intimate level where I can have compassion for their experience. I can have so much compassion for my grandma. I'm so glad to have finally gotten to that place where I don't hate her and
Yeah.
I can be like, "Oh, that I'm not going to excuse it. She was a bitch and she fucked me up." But I see how it happened. I see how it happened. And it's sad. It's sad that these people have experienced so much pain in so many lifetimes. But that's why I take my role as the generational healer,
Yeah.
seriously. I don't wanna keep passing that shit on.
No, totally agree. Yeah, it's not for the weak, but it's worth it. Yeah, I think
Yes.
at the end of the day, you just have to reduce everyone to a human being. Because
Yes.
yeah, if someone is acting a certain way, they've been through some shit and they're just taking their pain
Period.
out on other people.
Yeah, and it's okay for you to react to that. It's okay for you to have
Yeah.
feelings about it, but, like, after that initial response, what's your next step? Because
Yeah.
you want this person whose entire life is just this chaotic being to be your existence? Like, I
Yeah.
don't. So I don't wanna bring their existence into mine, you know? I I won't lie, I just avoid them. But, like,
Sometimes
sometimes
that's
I mean, for a long
necessary.
time, I was giving myself a hard time about that, but now I'm just like, "You know what? These motherfuckers are always gonna trigger me, I'm just staying away from 'em." Like, I just don't wanna I hate being at the gym when the boomers are there, I'm not gonna lie about it, because, they're over there tapping on someone's shoulder just to talk about, something fucking stupid, and you're like, "Did you just interrupt their workout to talk about
Oh,
something
yeah.
stupid?"
There's a few people at the gym like that, and then they just talk about themselves. Like, there's a guy at my gym, his name's Franklin. I don't think he even knows my name, but he always flags me down and wants to talk about himself, and I let him talk for, like,
Ugh.
a minute or 2, and then I'm like, "I gotta go."
Oh my god. You're describing it perfectly. They will flag you down and just be like, "So did you know I just got back from my trip and da la la
Yeah,
la." And it's
and
like,
it's like, "Why are you telling me this?"
and there's part of me this is where it's so hard because I'm not a bad person. So my heart does want to be kind to them. But after a certain point, it's like, but it's not just me. They want to do this with everyone. They're not doing this because
Yeah,
they have no one to do this with. They want to do this as often as possible because that's what makes them feel full. Honey, I don't care how old you are. You better go pick up a fucking self-help book. Learn
yeah.
how to have an authentic relationship with someone.
Well, and
Because
that's
it's
the
like
thing
that
that
whole
bothers
generation is
me.
just concerned about themselves.
Yeah, because it's like, I think they're just lonely and need someone to talk to, and it's like, I am not a emotional support dog, like, if you wanna have a conversation,
Exactly.
if it goes both ways, like, that's totally fine, but, like, I can't just listen
But
to your
just to
boring
sit and
story.
listen?
Yeah.
Bitch, I'll sleep. I'll
Well, and
sleep.
especially, like, if you don't care about me, how am I supposed to feel connected to you to even engage in these conversations?
Yes, but let me tell you this much. I was such a fucking people pleaser, especially to that generation for so many years.
Me too.
Did it. I did it willingly. Like, tell me all about, just like, I will give you all my ears and for however long you want to keep me fucking captive here, telling me your dumb, annoying story. You know what I mean? Like, because, and I'm not saying the whole generation's bad, la, la, la. I'm just saying that age group, it can be tough for real, for real. Like, I know plenty of healed boomers, but if you're not healed, I'm talking about you. I sure am. Because it's authenticity. Like, it's like, without giving specific examples, having a tragedy occur in one's family, and yet the conversation isn't around how anyone's coping with that. It's about
Mhm.
the trip we just returned from.
Yeah, I know exactly what
That's
you're talking
interesting to me.
about.
That's interesting to me.
Well, is that a form of avoidance?
Yeah, that's just emotionally unavailable. There's no, you don't know how to have an authentic connection with
Yeah, but,
someone
like, at
because
that
there's
point, it
all
just
those
feels rude.
barriers.
Yeah.
Oh, it's rude as fuck, but they don't know what they're doing. They
I
literally have no
know.
idea they're doing it. And if
That
you were to
rem
call them on it, they would never understand. They would not understand what you're talking about. They really wouldn't. They'd be like, We were just, well, what else did you want to talk about? We can talk about whatever." But then if you start to talk about it, it's awkward and it shuts down the conversation. And
Yeah,
then we come
they
back
don't wanna
to your
hear
trip
anything
again.
unless it's happy and
Well,
pleasant,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, listen, if I survived the shit they survived, I probably wouldn't want to either. I probably wouldn't want to either. I'd just want to be happy go lucky whenever I could and just avoid any kind of pain. But I'm glad that's not my reality because I'm a much
Yeah.
more peaceful person than a lot of these people.
Yeah, plus, I think the world needs more empathetic people.
Mhm. Just more compassion, like seeing
Yeah,
people for the humans that we are, like you said, like boil it down, take the face off. What are they? They are someone who was once a child and who was wounded deeply. And that child is who you're seeing at the forefront of this conversation that
yeah,
you see them having, you know? I've gotten really good about, I can almost pinpoint when they got stuck developmentally. I'll be like, "Oh, that's a 6-year-old boy. Oh,
I was
that's a
just gonna say, they
14-year-old
sound
girl."
really young, though,
Yeah. I mean,
like,
they
not
make
even
it
teenagers.
so obvious, like, that they got stunted really young. And then it's
Which is
really
actually
interesting.
really sad, because that's where their
It
big
is
trauma
sad,
happened. Yeah,
right? It's really sad. That's how I can have compassion. Now,
yeah,
not so much that you're gonna be invited to my space and invade my
yeah,
life, but, like, I'm not gonna spend my time thinking about how annoying you are either. Like, it's just like, God, that is so fucking sad. It used to, that level of compassion would make me give them more and more and more chances. But
yes.
now it's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
but I'm also not responsible for your behavior. And so
yeah.
we're at an impasse here. You're not changing and neither am I.
Was it the, "If I could just love them enough for them to see, then that will change them or change the way they think?"
I Yeah, I think
I
I
feel like that
thought I
was
was
always
gonna
my
be a role
approach.
model.
Yeah,
I think I thought that. Yeah. Up until recently even. Like I think I thought that I could show people how to show up. And that's not true. Not people who aren't willing to hear you, you know what I mean?
right. Oh, yeah.
So, it's tough because I don't want to, like, just decide I'll never be around you again, but, like, there's just a difference. Some people, there's just some, I'll just put it this way, just some flaws. Like, their base is really good and loving and kind and caring, and though they may not respond appropriately the first time you came to them, because it's our nature to be defensive, you know? So
Yeah.
maybe they're not gonna do it right the first couple times, but they do care and they're gonna come around. They're gonna understand what you're saying, you know? That's different to me. That's me. That's me. I'm gonna make mistakes, you know?
Yeah.
But then there's also the, well, that's not how it was done for me, so that's not mm-mm. And I just don't have tolerance for it anymore.
Yeah. Well, kind of like, that's not how it was done for us, but we figured it out.
Right. I mean, we were raised by these psychos and we're getting it together. I mean, that whole generation was our parents. So,
Yeah.
like, it's, I think that's why we have seen the shift in men, though. I think so many of us, women and men, don't want to do it like that. I think a lot of us are missing the mark. I was trying really hard prior in my former life, but I was missing the mark, living in my
Yeah.
masculine, driven from a place of spite, reactive as all hell. I mean, I did have the information I have now, but I was trying really hard to be better than what I received, you know? And
Yeah.
I think that's what we're seeing, but when you have good intentions without any sort of understanding, it really at that point doesn't necessarily matter what your intentions are because
Yeah.
there's impact to consider. But I don't hate men. I hate the patriarchy. But I have a lot of hope that that balance will happen.
I think so. Probably even in our lifetime.
I think so. I really do. Well, I think we're kind of forcing the issue. And I just think as power structures change, that will change. And I think it'll be positive. I really do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out because there might be some unintended consequences that we're not even thinking about.
Probably. I mean, there always is. But
Yeah.
I think too, men are in some ways becoming smarter to the grift of the, gurus, the men that they've had to look up to who are like, you
Mm,
just have to lift weights and you just have to
yeah.
meal plan your life away and maybe you should sign up for a bodybuilding competition and you know what I mean? That's a grift. That guy is just making money off the fact that you're a miserable human being and
Yeah,
I think more men have caught on to that, so that's a good thing.
which is maybe why they're not lifting as heavy in the gym, and I was criticizing them for that.
Well, I mean, honestly, that whole our whole generation, they were fooled by the fucking Tony Robbinses of the world, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't a bodybuilder, but, like, David Goggins, you know
Oh,
what I
yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, "Honey, if you're running barefoot in the Moab desert, you got fucking problems you need to address that don't have shit to do with your physicality." David Goggins of the world are fucking ruining men.
Yeah, that
That's how
is
I feel.
true.
I listen, people took that shit real literally. Real literal. Real literal.
But I
Because
used to be
you're
that person too. I spent so much time on my physical body, and I wasn't doing any of the work on this.
well, I think that's a phase for all of us. I
Yeah.
really do. I think we all go through a phase where we're like, but look at 75 hard. Even though 75 hard has this self-help component
Wait,
where it
what is
says you have
that?
to read 10 pages, bitch, I don't want to tell you and you start doing this shit.
I won't.
Okay.
I can
So
I
for
can just tell by the
75
name I don't like it.
good, because it sucks. 75 days in a row, you have to work out twice a day.
See, I'm not doing it.
I think it's one I think 45 minutes both times, I can't remember, but one of them has to be outdoors. You have to read 10 pages of self-help book every day. You have to you can pick any diet you want, but you have to pick one and stick to it, no cheats, for
Okay.
75 days,
So this
which
used
in
to be
theory
my life though. So this
really
is why
doesn't
I'm
sound that hard, but
yeah.
I've watched lots of people like day 20 and then the next day like, okay, so day 1 of 75 hard cuz like it happens a lot. But there's it's the fake mindset. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to if you don't know why that shit was happening in the first place, you can't just logic your way out of that. You
Mm,
can maybe for 75 days, but it's not gonna stick, and
yeah,
that's the grift, is that you're just capitalizing off the fact that people are wandering aimlessly and have no idea what direction to go in. You're offering a direction, and it's straight to the pits of hell. I'm not saying those programs don't help, but if that's all you're doing and you're never focusing on because self-help is not emotional development. It's not learning to attune to your own body. It's not learning to feel safe in your skin. None of those things. So like,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, reading certain little people isn't going to get you real far. I mean, it's just
yeah.
not. It might help you with your manifesting, but that's about it.
Because I used to read so many self-help books. It never changed anything in my life because it's just
Right.
motivational information. That's it.
Yeah, I didn't understand what the noise in my head was. I had to
Exactly.
shut that shit down.
Yeah.
I didn't understand how separated from my body I became as an infant and just grew that separation every year until I was 44 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't understand those things. I didn't love myself. I couldn't receive love from others. A self-help book isn't getting you there. It's just
Yeah.
not.
It's like, "Oh, repeat these affirmations." Like,
Yeah. And if you don't believe what you're saying, you're just affirming a lie.
I know. I tried affirmations for years and, like, in the hopes that they would work, and they never did, and then I finally understood why, and I was like, "Oh my god, that was such a waste of time."
Yeah, that's why in my workbooks we do invocations or a decree. Like
Yeah.
you make a decision and then you affirm that decision over and
Yep.
over. I was just telling a new client today, like, you decide you don't say negative shit about yourself anymore. So if you
Yep.
think it or you say it, you fix it immediately.
Yeah.
Learn. Like you, but you're not going to fix it if you're continuing to say it and you just think, I shouldn't have said that. No, you fix it, reframe it right there, right on the spot. If you said it out loud, you have to reframe it out loud. If you thought it, you have to reframe it in your head, but every single time. And then guess what? 2 years down the road, I hardly ever think negative shit about myself.
Right.
Hardly ever do I think anything negative about myself.
I
There
know.
are certainly things I need to, like, get better at, obviously. I mean, I'm not blind to my flaws, but I'm not sitting around fucking beating myself up about any of them. I'm, like, cracking your ass up today.
Because you're, like, speaking the truth. Because sometimes people just need to hear it bluntly. Also, I admire the way you say things sometimes because these are the things I wanna say to people to get it through, but I'm afraid it's too mean, and I'm like, "Maybe I should just start being the tough love coach."
Listen, here's how I put it from the very beginning. This is who I am. I am really fucking good at this, like, really good at it. Sometimes I'm gonna lead you to water, but that's gonna be rare. Other times, I'm gonna be waterboarding you with information. Waterboarding the shit out of you because I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
And I mean, there have been times where, a client had like a little hurt feeling over something I said, and I could register that. And then I just soften it back up like, hey, hey, this is from love. I love you. I'm just telling you the truth.
I guess that's true, you
Got a
can
water
always reel
bottle.
it back in.
Yeah. I mean, if, because it's really just passion. It's, you know what I mean? Like, that's all it is that I'm like exuding in those moments.
Mhm.
But it's the only way I know how to say it,
I
honestly.
know. I know what you're saying, though, because sometimes you just see someone's potential, and it's like, "Stop fucking doing that."
You know what I do? I listen as long as I humanly can, unless they are saying just something that is just so fucked up that, like, it's gonna be detrimental to them, I will interrupt and ask. I'll shut you down right then, and I'll be
Yeah,
like, "Can I stop you for a second? Thank you." So what I'm hearing is a lot of shaming in that, and that's not productive for yourself, so, like, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I'm gonna interrupt you
yeah,
because I think you're beating yourself up for something and it's not warranted. And honestly, that's what the universe sends me these little people who are just so broken. They feel so broken. They're not broken, but
yeah,
they just come and they're like, I don't know what to do. Like everything sucks. And you know what I mean? And they're me. They thought that they had to fix every last thing about
Yeah.
themselves and that they had to get some super regimented structure and, go all in on something. And I'm like, you need to be held. Let me
Yeah.
hold you for a second. You know what I mean? Because I
I know
do. I
exactly
mean,
what you mean.
that's why I can deliver things the way I do because they know very quickly that I'm not here for any other reason other than for you to transform your life in a very short amount of time. The clients that I've had for 2 years, they stay because they just love me and you know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah.
that. They're fucking great. Like, they're doing great. But the other ones, they come in and out, and, I mean, literally, in 6 weeks' time, they're a totally different person. I have a new client who we've only seen each other 5 times. She's fucking completely different. She's completely different.
It doesn't take long to make some really quick wins.
Yes, that's why I try to just, like, get down to the heart of it, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, that's why we don't do a whole lot of, like, let's spend several sessions with you unleashing every bad thing that's ever happened to
Oh, I
you."
know. You could get to someone's limiting beliefs, like, within an hour,
Oh,
if they're willing to
well,
open up.
that is also the part about humanity and the oneness is, like, understanding you're not any different than me. So I'm
Yeah.
just listening for myself. You know what I mean? I'm like, where do I hear me? And oh, okay, that's the part I resonate with. Okay, so I know what to do with that. Let's start
Yeah.
there. Some of that is just so intuitive, I think. But I'm always listening for the shame. I'm listening for the fear. I'm listening for the avoidance. And it's the same shit every time in different font. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes I gotta dig and be like, interesting, interesting. Okay, let me ask you this. And I have I have been crafting a little better at the leading, you know what I
I
mean?
know,
Like
'cause it's hard. You don't wanna, like, lead too much that you're, like, giving them what you wanna hear.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it is a delicate art for sure.
Yes, and I will say, like, it is an art and one I was, like, struggling with in the beginning where because I was just like, "Let's just fix it." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And when people are scared, their nervous systems can't receive all of that, so if you need to go, we can go.
I'm good until, like, 20 more minutes, so
Okay, let me make sure Sissy hasn't texted me. Nope. She's done this thing recently where she likes us to pick her up from her bus stop.
um,
Oh, she doesn't even have her phone today. I forgot about that. Oh, well. She'll live, it's not raining yet. Yeah, so anyway, that was a good topic. This full moon's getting me, though. I felt this itchy energy this morning, just like, "Ooh, I'm restless, and I don't like it, and
when
I'm starting my period," so
Me too, of course. I thought of you because I woke up at 3 AM and I was like, "Wait, is it a full moon?" And, like, sure enough, the moon was full, and I was like, "Why haven't I started my period?" And I couldn't fall back asleep, but, like, a few hours later, it started.
Yep. I, woke up I had bad dreams last night. I don't remember all of them, I just remember, it was so intense, I had to wake Brian up.
Oh,
I had to be
really?
like, "I was having bad dreams," and, like, cuddle him because it was my oldest dog died in my dream, and it was awful. It was
Oh.
traumatic. It was like a fucking what's the there's a hippo. It was a big hippo in a neighborhood. We're in a cul-de-sac, not at our house. It's like we were house sitting or something, and he just chomped on my dog.
Hungry, hungry hippo.
What the fuck?
Isn't it crazy how, like, weird dreams are, but then you wake up and it's, like, so real and still, like, scary? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't feel good. Like, I was like, "Ooh, I need to regulate. Come co-regulate with my ass." Like, it was not good. It was not good. And that was around 1 something, and then, uh, Charlie woke up at, like, 4:30 and used my bathroom in my room, and that woke me up, so I've actually been awake since 4:30 because I could not fall back asleep.
What time was the actual full moon? Do you know?
It's not until it doesn't reach completion until tonight
Oh,
for
really?
my time zone. Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. I wonder why. I feel
You
like
could Google when it
I'm
will
already,
reach
like,
completion
synced
there.
with it. Because
Yeah, I
usually
mean,
when we
because
have the full moon, I can't sleep. I hope I can sleep tonight because 'cause I'm already tired.
usually it's a couple days of the energy, so we'll try our best. I'm hoping so too, because I was like, 4:30 is too
Now let
early
me
for my
Google the
ass.
time. And it's the Libra full moon? What time is
Yep,
the
it's a
full moon?
strawberry moon. No, a pink moon.
Oh, so 10:12 p.m. Eastern, so -6, so like 4 p.m., so soon.
Oh, it's what time Eastern?
So it'll 10:12 p.m., so is that
Okay,
9:12 for you?
yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, so it's about to be for you.
Oh, that's interesting though, but I won't see it because at 4 p.m. the sun is still out.
Oh, yeah, that is interesting. Well, no wonder though that it affected your sleep a little more.
Yeah, so maybe that's why. I'm really hoping
Mhm.
it doesn't affect my sleep tonight.
I hope so too, girl. I hope so too, because we need our rest.
I know. It, like, really throws me off if I don't get my sleep.
Let's say bye so I can tell you something.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Hello. Before you go, make sure to check the show notes for all the links. You can join us on Patreon to get our weekly companion, The Unquiet Lowdown, and explore the other membership offers waiting for you there. And if you're enjoying the show, it means so much when you hit that follow button and give us a 5-star rating to help other souls find their way here.